Dr. Jen Iscare, better known as DocJenFit, and I really want to help you adjust those tight hip flexors. Now, there's a common stretch that we do in physical therapy called the Thomas stretch. But when we actually load the Thomas stretch and make it a little bit harder, that means that as you're going into the stretch, you're actually going to be resisting a little bit of tension. And what this does is it helps to build strength through length. And why that's good is because it actually helps to sustain this newfound length in that muscle so it doesn't lock up every time. The reason our body locks up is because it's just trying to keep us safe. That's its one goal. It's wanting to keep us safe. So if you're feeling like you're chronically tight, teach your body that it can be a new way. Now, if you feel chronic tightness anywhere in the body, let me know below and I'll make sure that I address other areas. Right now, I just want to address your hip flexors. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to stretch it, load it, and then stabilize it. So 2 stretches, one stretch, one exercise in order to create this whole new stability and found openness in those hip flexors. So we're gonna start with a band. Now I wrap this many times around this little edge and all I'm doing is this band is actually like a pull-up band, resistance band. You can get them off Amazon. I use Hope Fitness and I'll drop a link and code that you can use to get bands from Hope Fitness. Now all I'm doing is I'm looping it around and pulling it through one of these areas to keep it nice and tight here, okay? I want it really tight because see how much stretch and give it has? You can use a different thickness, but I like the ones that are really thin because especially when we're putting tension on the hip flexor, it's gonna feel really intense. So I'm gonna come down, I'll show you on my left side. So this is the side we're gonna be stretching and working. So I'm gonna come lay on this very edge. This could be a table, a bed, this is a couch. So we're gonna lay down and draw the legs up to your chest. Now what you wanna make sure for this type of stretch is that you're not letting that back arch and those hips go forward, okay? So we wanna keep the rib cage down and you can find where this is in your pelvis by kind of rocking back and forth. And if you were to walk all the way back, if you were to rock all the way forward, where is that middle point? And that is what you wanna hold here. So from all the way forward, all the way back, try to go back and forth a few times and then find where that midpoint is. That's where you're gonna be holding it the whole time, okay? We're gonna try to bring this leg up. We're gonna hold this other knee in place. Now this leg is gonna drop really slowly. That's the key here, okay? So lock that pelvis into place and then slowly kick that leg out and let it just slowly extend all the way. If you get shaky, that's bonus points. Okay, all the way until you feel a glute squeeze to pull you even further and then pull it all the way back in. And then again, nice and slow. Don't let that pelvis out. If that pelvis comes out, then you're putting a lot of tension in the back. Okay, so and then you might realize you run out of range of motion. So keep that hip in place. It's really gonna be crucial here. So keep those abs on, keep that hip up, and slowly let that leg come out and fall. And this is gonna make this whole hip flexor area here work really hard. Squeeze the bottom at the very end. Feel that stretch and open. It should get much easier at the bottom and then pull it back up. So I like to do 5 of these really intentionally, really slow. So this isn't necessarily a hypertrophy exercise, meaning we're gaining muscle. We're actually just lengthening and loading, okay? So opening, opening, opening. Very nice. And you'll do that about 5 times on each side. You don't need to do more than 1 to 2 rounds, okay? Now we're gonna work more on that stability portion of what we wanna feel and create within the core to the hip flexors. Because if the hip flexors are always feeling tight, it could be that the body doesn't necessarily know how to activate the core first and then the hip flexors. So now that we got it lengthened and loaded, now we're gonna work more on that core. So sitting on the edge of that bed or couch still, we're gonna bring the legs out to over the hips. So if it's over the belly button, if the knees are over the belly button, it's a lot easier. So I wanna challenge you and bring those knees out over the hips. So right over here, okay? Now we're gonna breathe out, try to flatten the abs. Okay, so it's almost like if you laugh, ha ha, ha ha, the belly kind of comes down and gets hard. And I know that was a super fake laugh, but if you really laugh, then you can feel on the inside of those hip bones how it gets really tight. That's what you want to hold. Now, as one leg comes down into that stretch, the other ball of, or not ball of the foot, but midfoot is going to reach up to the ceiling while the other foot reaches for the floor. So flex those feet, reach, 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 squeeze your bottom, and then come right back to tabletop and then switch. So we're teaching the body how to use the glute on one side, the hip flexor on the other, while the core is stabilized. Okay, we need this for walking, for running, so it really helps to create a balance within that pelvis, so we're not getting any crazy shifting, and we help to create this good core control right in the center to build our foundation. Okay, so at the bottom, you should feel your glutes squeezing. You should feel that arch. Think about reaching even higher. Reach, 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 and then coming right back. And bonus, the core will be firing. So I promise if you add this in, maybe it's a core day, maybe it's the end of a workout and you just are feeling like the hip flexors are really tight, try this. It's gonna help to open up those hip flexors, create that core stability, and you're gonna sit up, not wake up, and walk around feeling so much lighter in the pelvis and in those hips. So try it out. Let me know below what you think when you're gonna add this into your day and how you're feeling in those hip flexors. I promise it makes a world of a difference when you really start to implement this load and strength through the stretch and through that range of motion in those hip flexors. So don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what you want to see in the future and pass this along to anyone else you know who suffers from those chronically tight hip flexors.